Also, this is political. I agree with you, it's political, but it's political for the Conservatives because this is going to drive people away from Labour further, just like when Thatcher condemned the miners' strike, she got a landslide in the next election. Because this instantly is something that's going to turn people off, because until they consider that actually, oh yeah, these are why we have minimum wage, these are why we have contract
no, that's not true. The union, look, why unions started was exactly the right thing. But what they've become now is a club that works for their members and the Labour Party. There's no part of a union's actions that are neutral. If they were, the likes of me could back them, because if you're looking after poor people, I'm all about that. But this is about politics. They're trying to get the PM. They want to cause a winter or a summer of discontent. They want to rock the boat. And all the while, they're making sure that they get paid more, which is unfair. And I'll ask British people this. How much money do you think you already pay into the union coffers? Millions and millions, because they have things where they look after people they suggest, but they're campaigning with your money.
And they took home £500 million of profit of your money.
All right, OK. Dominique, I'll bring you in now, because one thing that I was not staggered by, because I always thought it would happen, really, but Labour's lack of condemnation, or in fact, arguably full frontal support for this kind of thing, actually. If it does kick off and we end up with the worst strike for 100 years, or whatever the press are calling it now, and people die as a result of that, kids can't get to their exams on time, etc., etc., I think Labour will have a hard time justifying that, won't they?
I'm not sure about that, because Keir Starmer, during this week's Prime Minister's questions, he said that he didn't support the strikes. He didn't want them to actually...
Striking general.
But he doesn't want these particular strikes to go forward. So I think what they will do in order to sort of politically manoeuvre themselves out of this is say that the government didn't work hard enough to basically negotiate, which I think, you know, considering the logic. I think with this, my struggle is just with the logic of it personally, because during COVID, the use of trains has actually decreased by about 20 to 25% anyway. And with these strikes, it's just going to drive more and more people away from the trains, which is going to incentivise the government and Network Rail to actually invest less, which will then, in the long term, disadvantage the workers more.
And let's be clear. The Labour Party can't have it both ways. If you're in favour of strikes, this is a strike, so you're in favour of it. And this is the key thing. If you're at home now and you're a Labour voter...
So you're not in favour of strikes?
No, not in favour of this one, and I'm not the person... Hold on. Let's be clear about this. This is the Labour Party's paymasters. That's why they can't come out against it, because these are the people who fund the Labour Party. That's a fact.
In principle, they can't be against it.
Raab came out and he said, don't strike yourself out of a job. And I've thought about this numerous times. Robot trains, robot tubes. I mean, is there a chance, actually, if this keeps happening...
But Sadiq Khan, this is important. Many of the trains in London have the ability to drive themselves already. Sadiq Khan refused to look to buy rolling stock that could drive itself.
But this is the thing that I'm really scared about. And
robots.
Against the backdrop of COVID, inevitably we are going to seek artificial intelligence, automation of a lot of these jobs. My suspicion is that part of this is a way to speed that up. And that's why I'm a bit...
Final word to you, Amy.
My suspicion is this is going to cause mass hysteria, mass disruption. And then the Conservative government are going to use it to ban strikes in the similar way they used in Britain to ban protest.
That's entirely up to the people who are enacting a strike.
Stop.
You cannot... This is not the unions versus the government. This is the unions versus the people.